Hi all, it's Kylie from Kylie's Card Craft. Thanks for joining me again. Part 2 of our folio with many flaps. So in part 1 we got a base done and we got some of our flaps covered. We're going to continue today, whatever you are. I'm at tonight because I've come home from work again, and we're going to finish off doing these and then we're going to start decorating. So where we finished last night was exactly where we are now, apart from this piece which I've stuck in, which is what we were working on when we finished last night. We will try again for 45 minutes. I think I was just over, yes, in part 1. I've gone ahead and put my double-sided tape excuse me, on this time, just so that we can hurry it up a little bit, and I will use the floor again to throw all my double-sided tape onto. It was a rather large mess last time to clean up, but it was easier than trying to go down to the bin each time. Right, so once again, lifting that up. If you watched the other one, you'll see how I lift it up so that it sits down, and make sure that it's straight and it at least covers it all, and then we can trim from there. Okay, so better grab my craft mat. Back with my knife and my ruler. I find it's easier that way. Instead of using, you can use your trimmer if you want to and just sit it in your trimmer to go. Otherwise, a knife works just as well for me. I find that it works a little bit easier. So we'll just trim those up as we go. Remembering how sticky they all were. And we'll get the rest of this finished off so that we can actually start decorating. We may not get every single tag done, but you'll get the gist, and I'll have the full one to show you. And I will definitely do some of the trickier ones to show you how they worked. Now with this one I've got bits and pieces sitting everywhere again. I want that one on there, and those two are my back pieces, so I'll just sit that there. This one's a little bit larger. Pull off my double-sided tape. Alright, yeah, this makes it so much easier. I don't know why I didn't do this for part 1. We may actually get something achieved like that. So we'll lift it up again, sit it down. No, I want to go a bit further down, because I don't think that's exactly straight. Folding it down, flattening it out, and then we can trim off again. And I keep changing my rulers because I like my little ruler in my hand so much better, but it is only a 6-inch ruler, so for this larger bits I do have to head off to the bigger ruler. Let's see if I can do that on an angle. I think I took some of the paper with that one. Oh well. And back onto that side. As I said last night, yes, part 1. Must keep saying part 1 instead of last night, because it depends on when you're watching this. As I said, just watch your copy paper. It's not always perfectly square. This one's going to go in here, like so. Yes, definitely easier already having the tape on it. Setting him up again just makes it a little bit easier, making sure that I'm nice and straight. I actually think this one's a little bit smaller, so we might go from that end And yeah, I've trimmed him just a little bit smaller so that he sits flatter that way. Okay, there's not much excess on this side. Now, I had comments with the last one about the knife that I'm using. It's a Fisker's knife. I think they put it out as an ergonomic knife, but it sits in my hands beautifully. Been using it for years. Well, not this particular one. I think my last one was so dead, would be the best word for it. At the end, it actually had big chunks of plastic coming off because I use them so much. Most of the things that I do are done with my knife. So, but they just take a standard size 9 blade, which you can pick up just about anywhere, and they're so easy to change the blades. Hanging on, twisting that, pull it out, pop your new blade in, tighten it up, and they sit beautifully. I have arthritis in my hands, and I have very knobbly knuckles, and sometimes my hands won't close, and I still feel I've got control with this, even though a lot of the times I can't use anything else and I have trouble picking up mugs and things. Okay. Alrighty, so I'll turn that around. I reckon that side can be trimmed. Let's have a look. Lovely. Alright, so we'll trim that bit up. This is a lot quicker, isn't it, guys? There's one that we might do next time. Just put all your adhesive on to start with. Trim that bit. Alright. And that one. And we'll see where we're going to. Right, so we've got 1, 2, done, done, done. We've got those bits. So that one goes there, that one goes there, that one goes there. So my little one, which I've got this one already done. And I'm thinking I might go that way and then that way. Do those ones. Okay. Oh, glad I've got lots of floor space beside me. Needs a little bit of a trim, tuck that bit back. Knife. Get rid of the sticky bits. Match it everywhere. Okay. This won't take long at all to now get completed. We're on a roll. Look at that. I want to thank everybody who has subscribed to my channel. I started this late last year, because I've always done classes, as in I've taught classes for the last, I don't know, 2004, I think since then I've been teaching. And last year with COVID, classes were finished, couldn't happen and all the rest, and I lasted most of the year, but as you've gathered by now, I like to talk. Anyone who knows me will definitely know that I like to talk. So with COVID last year and no classes, I started going a little bit round the twist, as we all do, and I needed that outlet where I could still talk. So at the end of August, I gave in and started my YouTube channel. I want to thank everybody that's come along for the journey with me. We hit 1,000 subscribers last night. So when I did this, as I said, it was a way of coping with COVID for my own, I'll put that one in there, for my own peace of mind and sanity, just so that I could pretend I still had a class in front of me and I could still do what I love doing and just talk to myself with a reason. And for this to have gone where it's gone has just astounded me. It's been wonderful. So I just want to thank you all so much for all your support. I've got to concentrate while I put that on, especially considering it's going on upside down. See, I need to concentrate a little bit. I want it that way. Back to what I was doing, what I was saying. So yes, so I just want to thank you all so much. I'll just bring that out a little bit. Where are we going there? So that it will go in. Thank you again so much for all your support, for sticking with me through this, for letting me learn as I go. I'm not technical at all. My daughter had to help me set it up to start with. I'm learning as I'm going. It just astounds me that there are so many out there that have enjoyed what I'm doing and are happy to come along for the journey with me. Now I've got it up the right way. And I want. That one's going in there. Here we go. That one and that one. And I just put, how can I do that? Look over and we might find it. Ooh, no, it's there. That one goes on that. Nothing wrong with me, is there? See, this is what happens when I think I'm organised. If I concentrate on what I'm doing and not everything else, I'm right. Right. Now, this has a few little words in it. Make sure that's up the right way. Like so. And then I can trim that off. So my little ruler's just a little bit too small for these ones. So straight down there. And then I can flick back to my little ruler, which I find is easier in my hand. Now you should be in shot as I've stretched this to make it wider, but I'm just hoping I'm not going too far over. Right. Okay. So we've just got those ones to do, which I actually have here, which is that one and that one. And then we've got all our base papers on, and it's now so much more solid than just the photocopy or the copy paper that it was to start with. Make sure that that's not going too far off that. Didn't give myself any extra on that one. And this one, I've gone too far in that way. That one's a little bit close. That's all right. You get the gist. And that's going to sit in there. And then we're done and we start our actual decorating. Now, for the most part, that's where we find that we start to dither and all the rest in, oh, should I put that one there? Should I put that one there? And that's what takes the most amount of time. When we're working on something, it's all that dithering of working out what to put with what. As I was telling class today, for the most part, it's 99.9% of the time, if you don't dither and you just stick, it's gonna still turn out fine. It's just that hesitancy, that second guessing ourselves and all the rest. We were starting to work on some collages today, so it was, in the end, I said to people, just glue it, move your head away, don't look at it, and let it stick down. It's going to be fine. Right, so if we turn this all the way around now, we've got 1 and 2, 3, which has another flap in here, and that one, and that one. That flap goes over and that flap goes down. So what we've now got is this. It's time to actually decorate. So what I want to do is my front cover. I've got these. I've had these for years and years and years. They were a full sheet just of little drawer fronts. And I thought, they're cool, and never used them. Absolutely never used them before. And I think I've got a couple of sheets of them. So I pulled them out for my prototype one of these and found they work beautifully in my journals. Check my glue works. As you can see, they were a Kaisercraft one in the Attic collection. It is so old. So what I want to do with this one is make this a pocket. I could have a pocket up the top, but we're going to have a pocket at the side. Prior to that though, what I want to do is stamp something on there. If you're finding that you're getting quite thick and chunky and all the rest, and let's face it, most of my stuff is, then the easiest way to give yourself some decoration is by stamping, because it gives you a flat area. So if I just go to my vintage book and I just want a part, something like that. So I'll pull that out, move that to the side, find what I did with my stamping mat. There it is. And I'm just going to use a coffee archival ink for all of it. So here's my stamp. Down, and I only want a part of it. So what I'm going to do is look, sit that under. If this is going to go here, I want just that little bit sitting up like there. Make sense? So I'm going to actually turn it round because I like to go side to side when I'm stamping. Sit that there. That would have been about there. And I'm going to sit it to the side about there. So about 3/4 of an inch down from the top. So I'll ink that up. Remember, don't rub. And I don't need to go all the way down. Can if I want to. It's not going to make any difference because it's going to be behind that other piece. I'll set this on about 3/4 of the way inches down, 3/4 of an inch down. Give it a good push because it is a fairly dark paper, so that we've just got this image sitting in here in amongst the wood grain, so that now when I stick this one on and I want it to go that way, So along 3 sides, just to make a pocket. Very rough pocket, but a pocket nonetheless. Okay. Nope, wrong sides, because I want it to open out the other way. Again, concentrate, Kylie, I want it that way. So we'll go down here. Right. Just double check that there's no glue sitting on the end of that now, and that I've wiped that away. So that when I sit this on, so that it's roundabout even on my page, see how I've now got this image just sitting up over that. Okay, there's my front cover. So that I now have this. So inside this one, we're just going to have, let's have a look. Pulled out bits and bobs everywhere. Right, just going to have that one sitting in there. That's a nice little easy one because I've already punched my half circle in that. Now I can stick this one on, and then what I'm going to do, just to give him a little bit of difference, is again I'm going to stamp. I don't know if you guys realise yet or not, but I love stamping. So if I sit that on here, like so, give that a push. And then what I want to do, apart from do up my glue at this stage, is pop something in here. So just bear with me a moment. All right, my favourite stamps. You'll find that I use these in lots and lots of things, which are which craft can you do? And I love all her signatures and numbers and all the rest. What I like to do with them is just a bit of book page, which I should have some still sitting down here, or not, and all my scraps. We'll grab a bit of other. So, a bit of book paper. But what I want is the edge, or the plain bit that you've got with it. And pull that off. Find one of these lovely numbers. Let's go a big one, because I reckon a big one will be what fits on that. Grab another block, like so. Back with that one. Once again, I'll stick my stamping mat under there so that I get a good print. And I'll just sit it somewhere in the middle, which will give me room to tear around it. So from that, I'll just casually tear this out, like so. Down this side, I can always tear a little bit more off if needed. On that side as well, just bit by bit. And then coming back, and I've got that. So with that, I should have a little bit of, yep. Now that's just the walnut stain. Yay, gone back to my walnut stain. My walnut stain came in, so I went and picked it up today. And a little bit of glue on the other side of it. You can hear all that crinkling. That's because I've got so much going on my desk at the moment. All right. Move that over. And down. All right, 2 done. Just like that. Right, so this one, a couple of little ones. let's just grab some offcuts from over here. Yep. All right. So if I do these round about 1.5, 2 and a 2, about 1.5. I'm just going to use this piece of scrap that I've got sitting there. So go to 1.5 and 1.5. Alright, and I want them to sit about there. Sit them both together and trim them both at the same time. Make sure they're nice and even. And we've got one here and one there. If I drop that down a little bit, I can have some slightly higher tags in it as well. Very quickly. And because I can very quickly, because my ink is fresh, as in opened about an hour ago. Woohoo. Oh, highlight of my day. Just about. All right. So glue those ones down. That's not very straight. Oh well. It's fine. When you're doing it, you'll go nice and straight. I'm just going to set that one in place and look at whereabouts I want that one. About there. Do the same with this one. Yeah, okay. Remembering when you're adhering pockets in, try and go straight and try and go close to the edge. It gives you more room for your pockets. We're going to pretend that they were straight, okay? About there, about even each side. Right, done. This one. What I want to do to show you this one is what I've done in the other one. Where is my initial one? Here. Right. This is what we're going to do. And it's a little gusseted pocket with just a little book inside with an edge that kind of looks a bit like worn leather. This is what I wanted to show you how to do. So I've already cut one of these guys, so this is just already on the paper, and edged it with my 2-inch circle punch. This time I want it to go this side because I want to see all of those. Now, to do that, I'm just going to move that one to the side, find a side, any side, is we want to score down here. If I pull my scoreboard out, and yes, I know, it's a very big scoreboard for a very tiny little piece, but we want to go about 1/8 of an inch in. Okay, we don't need it too big a gusset. 1/8 of an inch and 1/8 of an inch. And we're going to do exactly the same on the other side. 1/8 of an inch and 1/8 of an inch. That's it. Very quick and easy. Oh, try and put that back in. Like that. Very quick and easy little gusseted. So fold that in and fold that one back on itself. You can do it without a scoreboard. It just makes it quicker and easier if you've got that scoreboard. Then give it a crease. Same on the other side. So going in and creasing that one back out like so. Give that just a solid push. In essence, that's all you need. It's just giving you a little bit of room. So what I'll do from that is I'll put a little bit of glue down here just to adhere that side, those two edges together. And I'll hang on to them for a little bit. And I'll do the same on this side. So it's just those two little bits down here, just to close my gusset down the end. It should have some glue coming out of it. Yep. Like that. How about we do that? Right. That's it. So all I've done is I've closed that gusset down there. So now what I'm going to do is I will glue this piece, which is folded back, which is why we made the double fold, and this one, and then across the bottom. But I'm going to go in there, right in the edge, just to make sure that that gusset is completely closed, down there and back in along that way. Picking that up, finding my book, folio, whatever you want to call it. And as I said, with this one, I want to go that way up. Now, technically, I probably should have stamped on this one before I put it in. Hang on a moment. What have I got back there? There we go. All right, give that a little bit of time to dry. Peel that off. 25. And we'll make the book that goes in it. Okay, so the book to go in it, nice and easy. What I've got is a piece of old manila folder, which I've folded in half, and I can see it's an old piece of manila folder because I've been practice stamping on it. So I'll move that. And what I'm going to do is use brushed corduroy. Okay. And I'm just going to, with my blending tool in a circular motion. The reason I folded this to start with is so that I get these nice dark areas where that crease is. So it looks even more worn. Okay, I can go as dark or as light as I like. All right, so that's my first layer. What I want to do is finish it off a couple of different ways. And so with my walnut stain, now I've already got some on my walnut stain, and I'm just going to lightly go over it. So I'm not necessarily going in that circular motion. What I'm doing is picking up, because the ink's still a little bit wet and it's darkening, yes, that's the right word, this piece of paper right up. So it's giving it that worn look. Okay, so that's what it was, that's what it is now. And from that, just to finish it off completely, move some of this, is again, this time it's gathered twigs, but any of the darker ones like ground espresso, walnut stain, gathered twigs, any of these darker ones, and very lightly, I'm just going to give it a shot like that, a little bit up there, and that'll put in those darker worn edges. So now once it dries, you can see how that's all now coming out. So I've gone fairly close. If I go further back, I'll get more of a mist. I wanted those big splotches in it so that it'll actually come right through. I'm looking for the initial book, but I can't find it. I'll find it in a second. There we go. Okay, so once it's all dried, you get those splotches come through it. Right, so very quickly, we'll make our pages, which I've got sitting back here. So, just some coffee dyed paper, and my book, I've got this length, which is, I think it's about 4 inches, a bit over 4 inches. We could make it back to 4 inches, I suppose. 4, 3, no, we'll keep it at that. But whatever this one is, so what did we say? 4 3/8. So that's what we want to cut this down to. And then I can fold them that way. So I'm going to cut along here at 4 3/8. I'll cut the two of them together, but I'll just make a mark. 4 3/8 is about there. So no sewing required for this one. Keep them fairly straight. I'm not overly concerned if they're not spot on, because that's just me. All right, 4 3/8 is about there. Oh, look at that. It's only a little bit smaller. We'll have that. Thank you very much. All right. So we'll fold these. You can always ink them or ink around them. Your choice. For quickness today, we won't. Three and 4. So technically, their measurement for the whole thing, that ended up being 6 inches. So they've ended up being 4 3/8 by 3, really, haven't they? Okay. As I said, I'll put that one because you're a little bit smaller in the centre. That means you're a little bit smaller as well. And you're a little bit smaller. Right. So with a stapler, just make sure they're right down. And just with a stapler right on the edge, somewhere close to the middle, down this end, and down that end. Very quick and easy little book. Now back to our manila folder piece. Bit of double-sided tape. Again, you could glue. I just find that the tape, this is the 12mm tape. This is a little bit wider, so I'm actually going to pop 2 strips because I want it to cover the whole side. So I'll take that off. This is still a little bit damp. And now I'm going to go right up to the edge, like so. Give that a good push. Right, take that side off. I'll sit it in like that and sit my book inside, which should be the right measurement. Wouldn't you think? Right in that. Right into that. Look at that. Give him a good push. Open this bit out. Do your strips of double-sided tape again, giving it a good push so that it's nicely adhered onto it. Take that one out. And going down there. Like that. All right. starting to run out of time. Fold that over and flatten it over top of your staples. So what you've got is a little book now that looks like old, worn leather on each side. Okay, and that can just be tucked in there like that. How's that one? Right, so what we want to do, some of these. What I want to do, in case we're running out of time, is a different one again for in here. This one. I want to do the same as I did in my first one, just to show you what I did. So I've just cut a strip that's about the length that I want for a pocket. I have a set of dies that are tags, hole reinforcers, holes for them, etc. But this little guy, which is just, it is a tag shape. It has the cut mark down here as well, so it's not necessarily just a tab. But what you can do with it, and I found was great when I was playing around with it the other night, if I get this one and mark round about my centre point, so if I use this grid as my centre point, 1, 2, 3 inches, 1, 2, 3 inches, and I want to just even those up, which is about there. So I've gone there to there, whoops. Make a mark at my centre point. Right. Oh, see, that shows the muscles, doesn't it? Right. If I turn that way, you should be able to see that, shouldn't you? Right. So with my big shot, if I sit here on, getting this one, so that I'm just at this point, so that we're about even. Okay, I just want little bits of curves there. I need a little bit of washi tape, which is missing. So we'll go over here. Right. Now, if you've got a magnetic mat, that will work just as well. So I need to go back to my centre point so that they're about even. If you want to, you can work it all out on your grid first of all, and then adhere it down. Right, that's sitting in there. Put your top cover on, or whichever machine that you have. Because my tripod is sitting behind me, I'm just going to roll this back. With these dies, I don't normally need to roll them back. They only need the one cut. But because my tripod is sitting on the other side, I couldn't keep rolling it backwards. I'll take that out, sit those back over there, and we'll peel off our washi tape. And what I've got now is that. So with my book, what I've got is that. And look, you could do that with any tag die. If you've got a machine where it's wide enough to sit through, or if your piece that you're doing here is not that long and will go through that way, you can do that with any tag shape whatsoever. So that's just something to remember. Another way to use your dies. This one, I'm just going to pop a little bit of lace down on. So we'll just grab a little bit of lace, cut that off, and we'll get this one quickly finished for you. All right, so I'll move that up. Again, sit that on my grid. Use my centre line because I want to go round about through the centre, like so, so that my lace is centred in there. So if I use this one as my centre line, again, line it up, make it nice and even, like so. Then I've got a line to put for my glue. So Oh, and I didn't check. My glue's just about run out. This is just my Helmar 450. Just a straight fabric glue. And I'm going from this line, if it's going to be there. Here we go. Round about. Look at that, that's fairly straight. Right, in here, just a little bit wider so that that lace will adhere to it. You can see there's not much glue coming out of this. It is on its last legs. I have another glue up there, but you know what it's like, you want to get as much as you can out of your glue. Right, so if I sit that on there like that, so it's even, and it does it look fairly even? From my direction it does. Give him a bit of a push. Just comes to there. Turning it over with my big sharp scissors. Trim that off. Trim that one off. And he can be adhered down there. So back to my white liquid glue. Down the three sides. Straight down. Now we're running out of time, which is really unusual for me. So they were the main ones that I wanted to show you. What I'll do is I'll go back to the prototype and I'll talk you through everything else that's in there. If we just adhere that one down, just grab my cloth and down. Right, so when I've gone to make my tags, look, and I had my tag ready for that one. I think, do I want him on that one or do I want him on that one? No, I don't want to lose too much on that. That's my one for that. Very quickly, and we will just, again, this time I've gone to quotes, notes and alphas, and in the back of this book I have lots of little bits like these. This is actually the one I used on this one before, and I love these because they really don't look much, but what they'll do is, when you can find the stamping mat, set that under, get your block. Got a bit of a mess here to clean up tonight. Alright, peel him on. And you can very quickly just give patterned paper or plain paper a slightly different look. Now I like the number section in that one, so I'm going to go there, so that what I've now got is that. Okay, the lid on that, we'll adhere that one down. Down like so. Whoops. Stick that one in. Going down so that I've got evened three sides. Okay, tag on there. This side, again, one of these lovely little suitcases, just like so. Making it just a top pocket this time. And again, we'll pop a very quick tag in this one. So do like so. Popping that in. Right, another little bit of offcut. Just this piece. And we will very quickly make it into a tag. So just my old store card that I used to cut my corners off, and we'll make it just a straight tag. 1, 2. This one's plain enough on the back that you could still use it as a journal card. So this will fit in nicely, but I want to actually make it into a tag. So if I grab a hole punch, here's one I prepared earlier. Again, find your centre spot, use your grid. So we're going to go not quite there. My centre spot's going to be about there. Punch that. It's not oh, it is my large one. Right, and with a little hole reinforcer from that die kit set that we had before, and I've punched out a pile of them just from my scraps. After I've been finished working, I'll have little bits of manila folder sitting around, and I tend to, when I get a moment, just punch those ones out so they're sitting there. Again, I want to make them so that they're not manila coloured. So I'm going to do the same as I did with my, what do we do it on? Oh, the little book. So we'll just go the 2 colours again. So I'm just dabbing it on because I want lighter and darker. But I've not gone back to any ink on this. This was still the ink from, I don't know, probably yesterday in all honesty. Little bit of the darker one again. And I'm just sitting it on and tapping it up and down. Gives it a little bit of a squashed look as well. And what you end up with is an old, worn, move my ring around, which keeps swinging in winter. Okay, so you've got your hole reinforcer there. I'll use my tweezers for that one. These are tweezers that will just hang on to it for me. So put a little bit of white glue on that. Adhere it. Yes, I want that side. Adhere it over that hole. Because my hole reinforcers are a little bit smaller in the centre than that hole, but you can't really notice. That'll tuck in and finish that tag off beautifully, and it all matches in with that. Right. So we'll go back to this one. Oh, look, here's one I've just finished. The magic of TV. So we'll fold all this back up, and I'll go through the tags with you and how I actually did the tags. So this one, I've done the same thing. Part, stamp, another stamp. That's another Which Craft Do You Do one, but one of the signature ones. And I've got a tag in here. That's, again, one of the tags from that set. And then I've trimmed off the bottom and cornered them. What I like to, and that's just a craft card, but what I've done with them is I've covered the fronts with, pull them out, yeah, all right, they're old handmade papers, so they're soft, they're pliable, and they don't add much weight. So I've got those 2, and I've got this fibrous type one. They all stamp on beautifully. So that's just the normal one. Turning it over, that's one of the fibrous one. Again, manila length that I've just trimmed with that one. Punched a hole in, put my glue stick all over the whole thing, and then pushed, not that sheet, that sheet, one of those ones on completely. I've then inked around the edges and stamped over it. So it makes a nice flat tag to go in. And that's what all the rest of my tags were made out of. This one's one of the handmade papers again, on a manila piece, just to make a journal card. A little tag, manila, handmade paper, all stamped. Same with this one. This one I've done a little bit differently in the belly band. Pull you out. So this one I've covered with a serviette. So again, it was just a piece of manila folder. I've covered it with a serviette with my glue stick and then just popped a little bit of lace because this piece that I had in the serviette didn't quite fit the length that I have for this tag, and so it finished about here and about there. So I could have trimmed my tag down, but that was the length that I wanted. So just a little bit of lace top and bottom, and if I hadn't have told you, you would never have noticed. Belly band stuck in, piece of scrap, which is actually another piece of that on there, and one of the numbers again from Which Craft Do You Do. One of the numbers again. Another, see, that's where I was practicing that stamp that was on the other side of the manila folder. That was a scrap that I took off one of the other pieces. Another stamp on the handmade paper. More stamps on the handmade paper. There's the one that we've just done. Handmade paper, stamp all the way across the back that I've blurred, sat down and moved a little bit so that it was there and wasn't there. And then with a darkroom door, flower stamp on the top. Another one of those little nothingy stamps, but they just fit so well. Tim Holtz stamp that I just stamped on coffee dyed paper, tore around the edges and glued on. As I said, I was almost over pockets. Another one similar to this one, a little bit wider with another darkroom door stamp. Another one of those little nothing type stamps. This one was actually on the piece of paper. That was a scrap that I had left over of my handmade paper. So I tore the edges and then inked across it to really fuzz it out and put a signature stamp on that one again. This one on that handmade paper so that you can see the slubs going through it. I've used a 49 and Market. Hang on a moment, I'll show you how I did that one. Right. Oh, I can get it out. All right. It's this stamp. It's a 49 and Market stamp. It is a beautiful stamp, but I quite often forget, if I don't push down well enough, doesn't like this centre bit. I've got to really push in the centre, and that's why I have these stamped with them so that I can see what it is I'm meant to be doing. When I stamped this, it did miss all of this. I thought, oh, I'm not doing another one. So as I said in yesterday's video, I'd got 49 and Market Vintage Artistry Essentials washi tape. It's a pack, as I said, I'd got it about a month ago from Create on Ormond in Geelong. And it has these little bits, and when I came home I realised it had a whole other sheet. The other sheet is that. The Distress ink takes it up beautifully. So just with the brushed corduroy, and you can colour it any colour you like. It peels off its backing and then you can tear it. It tears wonderful so that you can cut it into strips if you want wider washi tape, or you can just do bits like that. That's what I ended up doing with that one. So it's still more or less from the same stamp set that I have, but it's the bigger version in the washi tape, and I just coloured it and adhered it straight into that centerpiece to cover up where that stamp hadn't quite gone. So just because you've stamped something and it hasn't quite come out, don't fret. Don't chuck it away. Don't try and do another one. See how you can rearrange it and change it. And that's what I did there. I'm going to sit that back there because I will use that in something else. I love this tape. Right. So, in essence, that was it. I'm sorry we never got time to completely do it, but you should get the gist from that, with the many folds and the many pockets and little books, which I've lost the book for this one already. So we'll go back to this one. There and there and there. Okay, so same sort of thing. Just imagine all your tags in it, your little books, and all your other bits and bobs. Tucks, tags, 16 pockets, as I said, plus technically you could have 17 because there's that. I hope you've enjoyed this one. I hope it's given you some thought on other things you can do. Thank you for coming along for the journey with me with this one. Happy crafting, guys. And until next time, bye.